So Monday Night Raw's media rights deal, or media rights, I should say. I do apologize. I am tired. I did work today, so I am going to stumble on my words a little bit. So I do apologize. But Monday Night Raw's media rights deals are still up in the air. We know that SmackDown's going back to USA. We just don't know what day they're going to be on, and we know that NXT is going to the CW and remaining on Tuesday nights, and preferably at 2 hours, which are all good signs for WWE and their product, overall. But what about its flagship show? What about its what about its it's basically what about the show that's the face of its company? Well, that's where Triple H and Nick Khan come in. You see, Triple H and Nick Khan were not at Monday Night Raw this past Monday night, and Monday Night Raw, because of that, was overseen by Bruce Pritchard. Now, good news is everything else was already finalized in advance. Everything was written, finalized, taken care of in advance. The only rewrites that had to be done was to include Punk in some segments, either by being mentioned by name or otherwise. Now, outside of that, there was no other changes. Because let's be honest, you think Triple H is going to allow the guy that was looked at as one of the biggest butt kissers to his father-in-law to run the ship, and make the decisions while he's away? No. Do you think he's going to allow this, mouse to play while the cat's away? No. Because he knows better. He knows either Bruce will try to emulate what Vince did in making final decisions and thus making Monday Night Raw unbearable to watch, or he knows Bruce might even try to call his father-in-law and let Vince run the show via phone or Zoom while Bruce, is just a filter. You can't tell me, Triple H doesn't realize that that's what Bruce would do if he allowed Bruce free reign to do what he wanted in his absence. He's not that stupid. He's not that gullible, and I know, basically, whether he likes to admit it or not, that pisses Bruce off, knowing that he's never going to be able to, do things his way or do things the way Vince would do them. You know that pisses him off, honestly, as I check my time here if you heard a click. But why was Triple H not at Raw? Well, it's because he and Nick Khan were in LA. That's right, Triple H went from Survivor Series in Chicago, or in the Chicago area, to LA. I would assume he went to LA and met Nick Khan there, if not Nick Khan wasn't already a Survivor Series with him. But basically they were both in LA this past week, or this past Monday, to negotiate a new media rights deal for Monday Night Raw. And what's interesting is, outside of some of the names we've already heard as being potential candidates to be the new home of Raw, whether it's Amazon, Hulu, or FX, and a lot of people actually hope for FX because, despite being owned by Disney and showing some family-friendly Disney content here and there, they've also mainly been known as a more mature channel at times, especially depending on certain time slots. So a lot of them are hoping that if Raw goes to FX, that might encourage WWE, if not Endeavor/TKO, to allow Monday Night Raw to go back to a TV-14 rating. But they're not the only ones that's in the running, either. They're not the only ones in the running. So another name that's been talked about, but some thought at first, it would never happen. Well, that never would happen has become a strong possible reality. And that's Warner Brothers Discovery and mostly networks like TBS and TNT. They are looked at now as not a never will be to, oh yeah, this possibly could become a reality no matter what. In fact, Andrew Bardella, I'm sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, who co-hosts Tuesday Night Titans with JD from NY206, he basically said that if Warner Brothers Discovery ends up winning, and I'm checking my time here again, he's basically said that if, Warner Bros. Discovery ends up winning the bid to, have the media rights, the distributing rights, the television rights to Monday Night Raw, if they end up winning that, that will pretty much mark the end. If not, that will be one of many nails, many of 1,000 nails being hammered, if not drilled into AEW's coffin. Because, to him, David Zaslav, Kathleen Finch, and the WBD TV team would rather have Monday Night Raw and WWE in their presence over AEW. That's how Andrew Bandera, feels about it. That's how he feels about it. That would be the death nail of All Elite Wrestling, or at least that would be the beginning of the end. Like, basically, he sees AEW being a sinking ship that's patching up all the holes that's causing that ship to sink, thus allowing it to stay afloat. He looks at the fact that if Warner Bros. Discovery gets Monday Night Raw and gets WWE under their banner, pretty much, there will be more holes being made that will be unrepairable, and that will cause the Titanic, known as All Elite Wrestling, to go into the water and never to arise, never to resurface. That's how he sees it. And you know what? When I heard him say this, because they got a clip about this, they got a clip from this moment on Twitter X, on X, if you will, x.com. I heard what he had to say, and what surprised me, not what surprised me, but what got me thinking about this, is that it sounds very similar to when ECW was on TNN. Remember, when ECW was on TNN, and I'm just checking my time again, when ECW was on TNN, everybody thought this is going to be the big break ECW needs. Paul Heyman thought it would be the big break ECW needs. Those that worked in ECW thought it would be the big break they need. You had people like Raven and Sandman coming back because of it. But what was happening in reality? What was happening in reality is TNN was only using ECW as a guinea pig to see if wrestling would fly on their network, if people would watch wrestling on their network. And not only did it prove to be a success, but that motivated them to negotiate even more, if not, offer the bigger, opportunity, money-wise and deal-wise, to WWE to have them jump ship over to TNN. And they did. And what happened to ECW? They went back to syndication. They went back to syndication. All because of the fact that they were being used as a guinea pig. And how this was proven? TNN never showed any advertisement for the show unless it was on the night of said show. And that was it. That was it. Now you might say, well, that's not the same here with, AEW. Well, that might be true, but when you think about it, the similarities could possibly be there. I mean, when you look at the two companies, who would Warner Bros. Discovery and David Zaslav favor more over the other? More specifically, now that competition of AEW's has the very guy that he allowed Tony Khan to have another 2 hours show to dedicate to in Collision. Now he sees that guy over there, one Bill Field, working for WWE. You can't tell me that's not going to motivate him more to potentially favor WWE over AEW if they get the opportunity to put a bid in and say, hey, we want Monday Night Raw. Because it will. It will motivate him, and that's a fact. That's a fact. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on Warner Bros. Discovery being in the running now for Raw? And do you think this could be the death nail of AEW?